Alright, meet again with Matt Einstein. As this video is created, actually I would like to answer a couple of the questions, like how to check the browsing history. Is it easy to check our browsing history from the Wi-Fi admin? And the most important question, can parents check the history of our browsing? This is most of the question that it's come from the previous video that I was created. Okay. So the idea from here is like, we would really like to know whether it's easy or not to check the history of the browsing, and the answer, unfortunately, yes, but also no. So what does it mean, like yes or no? Well, on the past period of time, it's not that easy to check the browsing history, but at this time it's getting easier and easier. But before we going there, let's see the concept of torch. As you know, like torch, it comes from the nouns of some device or tools that is used to give some lights to find out what's going on. And this is actually also happening when you are familiar with network. There is word torch if you're using MikroTik to find where is the source of congestion. Okay, so congestion here means, like, you know, the internet is going at this point like one of the most valuable commodity at this time, and content, so many people browsing content from phone, from anywhere. The amount of content that comes sometimes to the network is become very dense. People are browsing everything, and there is a traffic and there is congestion. So the admin need to know with the torch where is the source of this congestion. Okay, so let's see, like I'm become one of the admin and I want to use one device that it's called MikroTik. This is kind of like advanced routers. It's kind of pricey. It's around at least 200 USD. But from here, if your admin using MikroTik, then he can use the feature of torch. He can start to find like what's going on in the traffic. So in the traffic, he could see, for example, let's say he want to use one of the IP that is like used by one of the users. So he want to check one of the client that he has, and he want to know what's this client browse. So from this MikroTik torch, he could see like, okay, at this period of time the client browsing something, and he could read the IP here. And the question is like, okay, so this is the IP, not the address. Yeah, but IP is actually, will explain also the address. We'll talk about it later on the next video. Okay, what do you guys see? There is like HTTP and there is HTTPS. Both of these HTTP and HTTPS, we call it as the protocol, which is usually 88 or 443. This is showing like you at this point browsing the internet, like on the web browser. But there is also protocol that it's look weird, like 53 or so on. And here, as I mentioned before, we want to know like what is protocol, what is IP, what DNS. So we get the IP number, and let's open from the website called Whois. Whois is like kind of website that serve you to show and converting the IP into the domain. And here you could see the address 128 something something. It actually means it's the Roblox. So this is how the admin of Wi-Fi can see whether you are browsing something, what you browse at the time, how long, and so on. So if you guys browse something weird, then you know like how it looks like. So at this point, let me explain you what is actually the concept of DNS and what it means to our internet system. So let me say, like, the user, you are the king. You're asking to your browser here, like, hey, take me to google.com. Okay, so you are, as a browser, you're going all around in the internet world. You're asking to some of the network with the password to go to the like any network, and then you stop by on one, we call it as DNS server. They are like server that recording all the number in the world of the website, because website basically based on all the number. So they are like Google, for example, the number is 23.45.67.89, and so on and so forth. So you're going deep and deep again, and finally you're going and you meet a website which is Google, and Google tell to you as a browser, okay, sign in, I'm filling, and so on and so on. And you come back to the browser come back to you and telling like, hey, finally I can open Google. So this is how the DNS looks like, and this is why everything that you type in the internet, basically it's recorded in every single device. And if you're using routers or the MikroTik, as it's mentioned before, basically all the history will be recorded. But wait, that's not the only things. At this moment of time, there is a development that we call it as a proxy server. So what is proxy server then? What's the difference between the Wi-Fi? So as you could see here, there are like graphic of proxy server, which is like accessed by the phone, by the computer, or the stable computer. The proxy server, it's kind of advanced server that it gives and has a purpose to you to increase the sensation when you are accessing the internet. So when you access internet, you basically just stop to proxy server, and you don't need to go to the whole internet itself, because proxy server basically recording every single thing that you once browse. So for example, you very often browsing Google, or you browse Facebook. So proxy server will save all the picture, all your history, everything that you need. So you don't actually really need to go to Facebook. The proxy server will do it for you, and all will stop by in a proxy server. And this proxy server is very common. This is a supercomputer. They are located in every city. So if you are in New York, there for sure a proxy server in New York, or in California, everywhere. So this proxy server, they are recording the DNS, they're recording the picture, they're recording everything, including your password and username for some website. And what's the example of proxy server nowadays? So let's say there are like a company that called Akamai. This is one of a big company that they are having proxy server in every single city. As you could see, this is the logo of the company, and this is just the example. I think Akamai even once part of like a big company, like a big other name, I don't know, you mention and you can Google it. So here the proxy server basically have every single information that you have. And yeah, if you think that there are privacy in the internet, I'm sorry to say, but there is no. Okay, not to scaring you or something, but there are right now, as I mentioned before, there are easy way to check who is browsing and what do you browse, and even your parents can do it, like check it. The app is called Wireshark. Maybe I will make some of presentation and how to use this Wireshark. But basically this Wireshark, it records every single thing. Like they record your browse, they record what you download, the length of durations, not only the IP number again, but already the website name. And this Wireshark, it's very easy to be used. It doesn't need to be like advanced server or network. Yeah, you can use it just from your computer. So if your parents want to use it in their computer, for sure they can.